Hi, this is Muriwai Adele. You're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 290, and you are with your two high priests of Conchu, one of them being Ray. G'day, and of course, joining is Rebecca. Rebecca, how you going?
Doing very well, thank you. I'm just getting used to the new recording setup.
I know.
I can no longer dance behind the scenes as the theme music goes on.
It's all for
I
show.
almost did, and then I went, "Oh my god, no! It's not hiding me anymore."
Yes, loonies. If all goes well, this is live streaming and it is a different platform. Look, I thought I'd just give it a go. Something else. So I'm using Riverside FM. Marvel use it, Rebecca, and that kind of lit my eyes up going, oh, why not
I
use
bet
it?
it did.
Why not use it as well? So the jury will be out whether, stick with it or go with StreamYard. StreamYard was pretty good, Rebecca. Did you like it, the other one?
Yeah, I like Streamlabs. I like being able to see people's comments, and I liked how it worked.
Yes.
And this one currently, you're very blurry to me.
Oh, okay.
So that's a little bit strange, but I don't know how I'm not blurry to myself. So we'll see. See what people think. I mean, I can't dance along to the theme music. But other than that, no, it's so fine. They're all the same to me. Oh, you're not blurry now. So I
We
wonder
have
if it's
lost.
just a thing.
No, we've lost some points for Riverside there straight away, Rebecca. Thank you. That's always good to get feedback. I think it I might head back to StreamYard. But anyway, loonies, all that aside, welcome back. Hopefully live stream, fingers crossed. It is a Moonshine segment, and as always, that is a new comic book. And Rebecca and I a little bit late, but that's because we've been busy. I've been away, but we wanted to pick up with
Yeah. We never want to
Mo-
leave a new issue too long.
no.
Although, yeah, well, I'll talk to you about it when we get to news. So,
Okay. Well, this one, as it says on the tin, we're doing Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood, the next anthology, issue 2 of the series of 4, I believe, that will come out.
yeah.
And as mentioned, live streamed. We've got some loony feedback as well, Rebecca, and of course, you will gather our thoughts too.
Yeah.
A big thank you to the Patroonies, of course. A big thanks to Drew Toombs, Daniel Doing, and Frank the Think Tank, as well as Odin Sword. And again, I apologize profusely, Odin, of missing you last time. Hoping to get you on the show sooner rather than later. Also, as well, CLZ Comics and Dreamland Comics from Schoenberg, Illinois. Rebecca. So, a bit of news, a little bit of smattering, not much. No.
I was just saying that I was saying to Ray earlier that the only real news we have is the solicits, and so I don't really remember them. So we will go through them properly on Thursday. But I know that we have we have damage. We're still going to have 2 Moon Knight runs going at the same. Well, Moon Knight run, thankfully, great, hooray! But then also this damage control, I guess, is a mini with Moon Knight in. I'm trying. It's not really a Moon Knight run, but
Yeah.
he's prominently in it.
Sorry,
So
Rebecca, can I just interrupt? You just reminded me of Stephen Grant there from the gift shop. Moon Knight,
can't
the
help
run.
it.
The run.
Yay!
Very English, I guess. Anyways,
Sorry.
that was very cute. Anyway.
I've never tried to separate myself from how Stephen makes these sort of doofy comments, so that's fine. So what I was thinking, just before, is when we were me and Ray were laughing earlier about how we're going to do 2 podcasts this week for this and then the new Jed McKay Capuccio run issue, and then I'm like, we have a lot of Moon Knight appearances coming up.
We do.
There could be a lot of podcasts in your future.
Oh my
You
god.
might have to do a couple per issue, per episode or something.
That's what I was
Because we
thinking.
have
Maybe.
we have like Ghost Rider,
Mhm.
Ms. Marvel,
Yeah, I think bundling.
Strange. I
Yeah,
think
maybe
bundle them.
bundling up the cameos, but damage control would be different because
Mhm.
I'm assuming he's part of the team or something,
I
right?
mean, as far as we know, he is. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's never had a superhero damage control team before, so
Yeah. Oh,
it's
so
going to be
yeah,
fun. And we haven't really seen him consistently in a team since the
Secret
two
Avengers.
minis.
Oh,
No, I was
two
going to
minis.
say,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So what was it? Damnation. I was about to call it
Oh,
Devastation.
Damnation.
Damnation, and then the Iron Fist one,
Contagion.
Contagion.
Yeah.
Damnation and Contagion.
You could argue Serpent War maybe as well with the other
Well, I would
characters.
say that was more a Moon Knight mini.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I'd say that was Moon Knight essentially, rather than him being sort of just part of a team.
True.
So
Yeah.
maybe Devil's Reign, but that was again, he was barely in it. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, so but damage control theoretically, we're gonna see a fair chunk of him, so that should be quite fun.
Is that it? I was just thinking. So the Miss Marvel one, right? Because there seems to be like an
There's
endless
Ghost Rider,
supply.
Strange,
Strange,
Ms.
Miss
Marvel,
Marvel team up and damage control. I'm
damage
pretty sure.
control.
Yeah, I
But
think
we still got the
that's.
anthology going, and we still
Yep,
got. I mean,
the
we've still got
regular.
the anthology for another 2 months, and then we've still got obviously the Jed McKay run.
Yes. Which
Uh,
which was announced. I guess the latest solicit showed issue 15, right? So we're still.
yeah, 14 or 15. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
still.
so still trucking along. So that's good.
Yeah, and I
Always
think
good.
he said on Twitter
Yeah.
he's gonna keep going as long as he can. So everyone keep
Cool.
buying it,
Yes. It's
because I
just.
think we're all enjoying it. So.
Oh yeah, it's just really shocking. Like the Spider Woman one, where like I remember after issue 21, we were all waiting for the solicits, and it's like,
Oh, that's
where
the
is it? Where
worst.
is it? Like,
Yeah, I honestly think
yeah,
that is the worst. Is
yeah.
like
So,
is when you think it's gonna come. Like, I would hope that
mm,
when it at a time when it does come to an end,
yeah,
as all good things do.
we should have a
Um,
memorial or something, Rebecca.
we will. You know, we will. We'll have a wake.
We'll
Of
have a
course we will.
wake, exactly. I can bury a little shoebox
Yeah.
in the backyard somewhere. Um, anyway, listeners, we are here for the Moon Knight Black, White, and Blood. Now, if you have been living under a rock or inside a tomb, you wouldn't know that this is an anthology. So generally, there are about 3 stories in there, and what we have, which was released on the 15th, smack bang in the middle of June, we have 3 stories. The first one, "The Empty Tomb" by Benjamin Percy, penciler Vanessa and she inks it as well and colors it. Letterer Cory Petit and editors Martin Biro, Annalise Bissa, and Tom Brevoort. The second story, "A Hard Day's Knight," um, is writer David Pepose, which incidentally, Rebecca, as well, Loonies, we will still have the talk with David Pepose. I've been in contact with him. He's just been inundated with like deadlines, and he apologized like profusely, saying when he can come up for air, we'll get some
No, that's really
dates.
good of him to stay in touch to
Mm.
sort of clarify it anyway. So
Yeah, so we get his story in the second story of this, with penciler Leonardo Romero, also on inks with colors by Chris Sotomayor and Sotomayor. How would you
I don't know.
say it,
I'd say
Rebecca?
Sotomayor, but
Sotomayor.
neither of us are multilingual.
No,
So.
exactly. I just yeah. A letter again, Cory Petit, and editors Martin Biro, Annalise Bissa, and Tom Brevoort, and finally Blood Red Glider. So again, multi-talented writer, penciler, inker, and colorist Patrick Zircher. Letterer again, Cory Petit, and editors Martin Biro, Annalise Bissa, and Tom Brevoort. Now we also I should have share this, Rebecca. What am I doing?
I don't know. Well,
Because this
you
is
go away, you forget how to do everything.
I know. So there's a cover, and that is by Ryan Stegman, JP Mayer, and Carlos Lopez. A beautiful looking cover there.
I
And
got the variant.
did you the Weaver variant?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let me see if I can.
I got it because it was the only
Yeah.
one I couldn't find a picture of, and I like gambling on these things. And like the Stegman one, I like, but I don't love. So I was like, oh, I'll just gamble with it. And I'm not sure if I prefer this, but it's very dramatic.
It is dramatic. I like the use of red in it. It's very.
Yeah, yeah. I actually
Mm,
saw it on the comic shop stand yesterday because, as Ray
Okay.
knows, I ducked down to London yesterday,
Mhm.
and it did look really nice in person. I get my comics mail order, so I haven't. That was the first time I had to sort of touch it.
Yeah,
So that was kind of cool.
that's
But
nice.
yeah, I sort of gambled on that.
Yeah, for sure. Is it? Do you know? Is it a ratio one or what? Is it hard to
No,
get or
no, I
no?
never.
Okay.
I don't get ratio ones. I'm also assuming that they'll all be in the Treasury edition anyway.
Yes.
So I
Oh,
haven't really struggled to get and I haven't really gone out
mhm.
of my way to get too many of them because I've already
Yeah.
pre-ordered the Treasury edition, and there's a limited amount of money I want to spend on me buying
Yes,
the same things.
for sure. A a valve that I don't have, Rebecca, when
Yeah.
when it comes to midnight, unfortunately. But it's just until the money dries up. So it's a bit
You know
silly.
me, I'm also buying
Silly.
too many other things. So like
Yes.
if
Yeah.
I could
True.
stay honed in, it would be fine. But when they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
new Captain America runs, and
Oh, has that started yet?
it just
With
started, yeah.
is it good? Lanzig and Kelly? Is it Kelly and Lanzig? Is that
Yeah,
yeah?
Lansing. It's Lansing?
Sorry,
Lansing,
landing.
I think.
Sorry.
Yeah. Uh, I really dislike their Devil's Reign issue, and I didn't love the Zero issue of Captain America. But then
Yeah.
the preview showed Steve in an art class, and I'm an
Oh.
absolute sucker for Steve Rogers doing boring, normal things. So I
Oh, he
bought it,
was.
and yes, actually, it was very good. So
Okay. Okay. So he was. Of course, because Steve is an artist. He wasn't the
yeah,
life model for that one, Rebecca. No.
no, that would be amazing. I hope everyone saw my
That's
face
okay.
react to
Oh
that.
yeah,
I was
I'm
like,
glad we
yeah,
got
no,
that
that would
on.
be
Glad we got
amazing.
that on video.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, and I actually did really enjoy. I enjoyed it enough to subscribe to it. So, and I've
Okay.
been very tentative because I really like their Kang mini, and
Yep.
but I just really, really hated their Devil's Reign issue. So,
That was remind me.
um,
That was the Winter Soldier one, was
the
it?
Winter Soldier
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, but no, I really enjoyed the first issue. I didn't read the Sam Cap one. I'm not sure when that one's
Okay.
out, but I will read that one
Oh
eventually.
yeah. Yeah. And
So,
we have the. It's. Is it still a while yet? I mean, I'm just indulging you, Rebecca, on the
I
Iron Man
know.
side of things as well. Cantwell, that's
There was.
where are they up to there? Is that
They
over
are
yet?
up to no, no, no,
No, not
no,
yet.
no. Uh, that's up. They just had the big proposal issue. So,
Ah, cool.
and then there's
I
an
mean,
annual, and then there's. Well, I think yeah, we have no end in sight on that Iron Man run.
mm. Oh yes. Okay. Just from the looks of it, I don't want to step my toe into anything that I shouldn't, so I'm not going to say anything else. But yeah,
Yeah, I
cool.
that's
Thank
you're
you.
done.
Thank you for
You're
reminding me,
done.
Rebecca, because I was about to, because I'm just so happy to. Anyway,
Yep.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, excellent. Anyway, let's quickly move away from that before I do anything else. So, listeners, we got. So, Rebecca, what I've done is that you can have listeners call in.
Oh
So
yeah.
this is the difference from actual seeing live
Okay.
comments. So we've got Digicom here, which is Mario.
All right.
Mario, are you there? Hello? Hello? Oh, another strike for Riverside FM.
I mean, it does say you and two others, so presumably he's in.
Yeah, Mario, I cannot hear you. Yeah, anyway, well, I guess while we work in the background there, sorry again, Mario, if you are listening, we are trying this out, so blame all technical issues on me. Yeah, I cannot hear you, Rebecca. I'm assuming you can't hear him either.
No, I can't either.
Bugger.
That's a
Anyway,
shame.
Mario, we do have your I do have your feedback as well. So rest assured. But sorry, Riverside FM, not looking good. Not looking good on the ITK front. Uh, anyway, listeners, of course, available. What we're about to talk. Oh, here we go. Mario,
Hey,
hello. Are you there? We can hear you.
we can
Hello.
see. Oh,
You're typing, and we can see you, and I can hear you. So you can talk.
might not
Well,
have a mic.
I can hear him typing.
Oh,
So
that's true. Fair point.
yeah. Anyway, whilst Mario gets acquainted with the new setting, here we go. I'm not hearing audio. Let me try something. Okay, Mario. Okay, we'll have Mario there. This is lovely. Oh, he's gone. A lovely new
I'm just
platform.
centering myself. I have to keep centering myself every time the window changes.
Yes, so this is available on floppy and or digital. So get it while you can. Again, Rebecca. Oh, for those that don't know, Rebecca and I will go through a rough synopsis of the three, and then we'll just dive straight into it. I put in 3 key moments. I guess one that stood out from each of the stories, and then we can just talk about some other
Yeah,
stuff.
just
I've
our
got
general
some.
feelings, I guess. We
Yeah.
haven't made too many notes this time.
No, and we'll cap it off with Connorshew's rating system, of course. So, Rebecca, would you be so kind as to
I will
read?
indeed. In the empty tomb, Moon Knight seeks Doctor Strange's help in relinquishing his duties as Avatar of Khonshu. Doctor Strange hands Mark a mystical scarab, and Moon Knight's journey for release has unexpected yet comforting repercussions. In A Hard Day's Knight, Mark convenes with Jake, Stephen, and Khonshu to piece together how and why Mr. Knight accrued all his injuries. From battles with the like of Vermin, Crossfire, and the Juggernaut, the truth behind Mark's injuries show that supervillains don't necessarily leave the biggest scars. Finally, in Blood Red Glider, Sephora, the widow of one of Mark's brothers-in-arms, contacts Mark to revisit his mercenary past and face an old villain in a classic story of vengeance.
Yes. Thank you, Rebecca, for that. A little pat on the back for me as well. I should get into marketing, Rebecca. I think I like
You
those
should.
little things that I did then because I think they don't give anything away, but they kind of just describe it a little bit. Well, they do give a lot away in the second one. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying.
It's kind of hard to describe the second one without like giving some of it away because
giving the details,
and it's not consequential. I mean,
Yeah.
all you could have done is left out the villains, and that who cares? We'd
Yeah.
have mentioned them anyway. So
That's true. Overall, Rebecca, I guess if you're looking at all 3 of them, how did you find this issue? And maybe I don't know, in side by side with issue 1, how are we tracking?
I think issue 1 took more risks, and I think issue 2 was more what I expected in an anthology of Moon Knight issues. So, and neither of those is meant as either an insult or particularly a compliment. Like they're both kind of like fairly neutral statements. Like number one, because like the first one I felt a bit sort of wrong-footed almost, like that either that people had tried to swing very hard, like Hickman did, and not been fully successful to me because I'm not really used to reading Hickman that I don't love, and or that they'd tried something that didn't maybe work with the end, which I liked and I appreciated, but I didn't love or I didn't think worked storytelling. And then the middle one kind of like was kind of in between. It was like something it was a bit different, but a bit familiar. And these ones were all slightly familiar, but so like, I guess the first one, like you said, is a little bit more horror. I felt a bit wrong-footed about that one as well. I wasn't sure if I think maybe because we've been talking about D&D representation. I really DID representation so much that I'm kind of like now challenging things. So I read it and I'm like, he talks about voices in his head, and I'm like, oh no, like am I? You know, like having chatted to people, and Lena was saying on Discord that she took it more as like the Khonshu's voice, and I was like, yeah, I do think that's what it meant, and I think it's totally on me. Like that's how I've started like looking at things those 2 different ways, and I'm glad of that for me. But I still thought it was pretty dour. Just like I'm not sure how I felt about it because it felt so overwhelmingly miserable. And there's nothing wrong with that. It was just, you know, the Hard Day's Night was just, it was just fun and lovely. And again, I don't think it took any risks and still sort of still going into it, looking at DID is like, would they really be all sitting around a table? Maybe internally in his mind. Um, but I thought it was a lot of fun. But
Hmm.
I thought we'd get a lot more stories like that, like
Yep.
from the anthology, because
Hmm.
I find it hard to know like how somebody goes in and tells a 10-page story about Moon Knight,
Yeah. Oh no,
who's
for
not
sure.
got a big history with the character. And the last one, I'm not really sure I love war stories generally, but I thought it
Mhm.
respects a element of Mark's past that we don't seem dealt with much these days. I mean, you and
Mhm.
me have joked several times about how you don't get the CIA references very much anymore.
Mhm.
So I thought it fit really well. I thought they were like, if you said that we're going to do an anthology of Moon Knight stories, then these are kind of three that would almost be sort of the ones that you might guess you might get. Like
Yeah.
one of him talking, one of the alters talking, one that verges on horror, and one that goes mercenary,
Mystery.
because they're
Yeah.
bits that aren't really being dealt with by the current run or even previous runs, but very much dealing with him as a superhero on the streets.
Yeah.
And I guess the middle one does as well a bit, but from a different angle. Like it's one that you can actually tell cohesively in 10 pages, because you can't
Mhm.
necessarily have him do massive investigations
No.
or like so you sort of, so that's what I mean by more expected. It wasn't it's not criticism. I
Yeah.
quite liked it. I think, and it's sort of, it's boosted my opinion of the whole project, in that I think when you read it as a treasury edition, then the first one won't feel quite as disjointed,
Mhm.
because maybe it's because I was more prepared for slightly disjointed stories this time. What did you think?
Yeah.
I talked a
Yeah.
lot.
No, no, actually that it's very interesting, and I shared a lot of your thoughts as well. It is funny because when I read the first one, The Empty Tomb, get that sense because of the DID that we had been learning about more,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, is this? But I did kind of take it as Conchu's voice, but it did say voices, and I'm assuming Conchu's only got the one, right? So I felt that Benjamin Percy, and again, I could be wrong, may have had just really a surface level knowledge of DID, but he made it ambiguous enough to, I guess, to make it work. But for
To,
those of
yeah, make
us,
it work that way.
yeah, but for those of us that had been going on this journey with the likes of with Lena and Calcist as well, it was, yeah. So I thought it was cool. It's funny placement. I thought maybe it could work for this issue because it was such a strange one to open up with. As you said, it was quite
Yeah.
dour. I was wondering maybe if it was on the end, it might have a nice effect because there is that kind of
Yeah,
like.
I almost would have switched them, like started with the Merc one.
Okay. Yeah. I would have started with, I thought maybe the Hard Day's Night, I thought would have been good. Oh, but you're right. I mean, the Merc one just as much. But I think maybe just not having the Empty Tomb at the beginning, not because it's bad, but because
Because it's just
it's
such a
a
bummer.
different, a bummer, it's a different tone. And you want to have that effect, right? Of him almost catatonic at the end.
Yeah.
And he's like, almost like, I've jumped in from one curse to the other, and you just see him in the institution, which I assume it was because there were barred windows up at the top, and when he
Yeah.
was lying in the
Yeah.
bed, and him just kind of thinking, oh, but at least it's quiet and still. It's such a
I think it
dark
was
kind of
that
ending.
maybe that like enjoying the quiet was, I think,
Mm,
maybe what set me off as well. But
yeah,
I like the art a lot.
the
It's
art was
art we
very evocative. Yeah,
don't get to see very much in Big Two comics, because
yeah,
it's so and
and
I
you've
don't mean this as we now use the word traditionally, but sketchy.
yeah, yeah. Let me
Like
let me pull it
there's
up.
sort of beautiful kind of just hand drawn
Yeah,
nature of it, and I know they all
so
can be hand drawn, but this one just, yeah, that kind of, and I think it
uh,
added a lot of depth. Like there's so much detail in like Doctor Strange's room,
mm-hmm. And just
and
the texture, as well,
yeah,
which Del Rey uses
the
to
paneling's
create the shadows.
amazing.
The paneling's cool. Like I love the
Yeah,
overlapping, which you
yeah.
can see like with Doctor Strange. Very irregular sort of panels, but with the word balloons, you're led across and around it, which is really cool. We talked about the use of red, Rebecca, in the previous issue. You notice whole pages here are red. So
Yeah, the Doctor
So,
Strange ones have got red backgrounds when he's
hmm
at Doctor Strange's.
and his cape, which is obviously very prominent.
Yeah, but then some of the gutters are done in red.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Some of the
His
gutters.
eyeballs are done in red, like when he's gone bloodshot eyes.
Yeah, that was.
It's a really nice use of it. This one feels like an experimental comic in a good way,
Mm,
you know.
yes.
And so I really like that. Even like bits of red on the snake at the beginning, it's just
Oh yeah. And the
yeah.
the scarab we get. This is the
The
second time as
scarab is
well.
a bit of a running theme. This is the third story we've had a scarab in, I think.
Well, true. I just got the. I mean, I know it's not connected, but I just got the sense of the TV show, similar to how remember summoning the
I wonder
suit
if
with.
they were
Yeah.
giving them a sort of steer, like if you're going to
Yeah.
use something, maybe use a scarab, or maybe just everyone went that basic with Egypt. I mean, I quite
True.
like it as a sort of now becoming a bit of a theme.
Yeah. Yeah, it is
Um,
definitely
but
becoming a
yeah,
theme. Um, then you see shots here of horror. Like you see this shot of Mark there, like with the uplighting, to give that
hmm
kind of very horror look. And it happens a few times, and especially when he goes into this tomb that he kind of eventually kind of opens like a
yeah.
doorway too. So here, great use of red. Again, for apologies for podcast listeners, you're not getting the visuals, but live streaming, fingers crossed.
hmm
You get these images here of the comic. Del Rey using like ziggy zaggy lines for the paneling too,
It's
to kind of.
really, I mean, that's what I mean. It gets that sense of
Mm,
like real sort of down and dirty, experimental bit of
hmm
independent comics, like
the,
almost a
the
zine. It's like almost a
yes,
zine, kind of like, and I like it because of how unusual it is, and I think that's also why I like so much that it's followed by the Hard Day's Night,
yeah. I
because
mean, but
that's
also
almost formal in its paneling.
it's so different. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
different, and we'll get to that. But this one here, I found if there was anything really, I think to be critical on, I felt sometimes it was a little hard. Say for this page, for instance, it was hard to follow what was happening. So in here, does Mark look up a chimney? It looks like he looks up some sort of flue or something, and that's why he's looking up into the night sky, into the moon. Is that
Oh,
correct?
or is he looking down? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
See,
he's looking up.
it's
You're right, because there's the moon up there. Yeah.
yeah, but the transition from that to the panel above, where he's scratching his head, looking at it was just a bit hard to follow. That's all. Some of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and then so he's looking up, and the scarab comes down off the wall, and it
yeah.
goes into his mouth, and then we get this kind of exsanguation or what it is.
Yeah,
It's
that's a good word. Good word.
yeah.
Ray gets word
Uh,
of the day.
yes.
Made him a spectre of blood. Get a bit
Mm.
wordplay on spectre there.
Yes, true. And there's another wordplay in Spectre in the third story as well.
hmm
Uh, but yeah, so here we get almost like an exorcism, but it has left Mark uh, a husk, and this was a warning that Doctor Strange had said. You could
Yeah,
die, you could be left just a husk, and he has been in this a very kind of grim ending, and
yeah.
that's what.
He's like
And
drooling and handcuffed to a bed in
yeah,
an institution. It's like
yeah, that's
it
that's
is.
why
I mean, look, it's a horror story, and I accept it within horror for like someone in Mark's position to be left that way.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, but great. I think great art. I think it worked. Worked really well. Uh, oh gosh, actually, I really did enjoy this issue. I think
Yeah,
exactly what you're saying, Rebecca. This is the stuff. This is what I wanted to see
yeah,
in the anthology. Just really disparate stories, um, taking risks, not as big as say the Hickman swing, but being just. I mean, that one kind of. I was a little bit. Oh, I'm not too sure about this first story, but then we get to the second one, uh, and let me pull that one up.
yeah.
We get to the second one, and
Oh,
yeah,
it's
as you
so
say,
fun.
so clean. It reminds. What comic does it remind you of? The faces remind me of something, Rebecca. It might be just Leonardo Romero's art,
It might
um,
be. What does
but
it
it's very
remind me of? I'm
classic. Maybe
terrible at. I'm
like
terrible
new
at doing
comic
that.
book.
Yeah.
Sorry, newspaper strip comics.
Yeah, yeah,
Almost kind
but
of like that.
you're right. There is a comic that it reminds me of,
Mm.
but I kind of have it on in my mind, but I can't. Can't say why.
Yeah.
It's just it's really clean, and the panels are very square or rectangular, not
Mm-hmm.
fully. Um, the
It's not as playful. It's not as playful as Del Rey's for sure.
no, and the altars you can see because they've all got little glows around them.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But they've all
which I
got that
guess is
classic.
what signals it's not them actually sitting at a table
Mm-hmm.
together.
Yeah.
Um,
I love this light-hearted kind of
mhm,
writing from Proposer. Like you even have that waitress just going, "Okay, I'll let you
mhm,
get back to your
yeah,
business then," because he's there just talking to himself essentially.
about
Um,
how he got all his wounds, which is
mm.
great.
But yeah, I thought this was a neat little thing. It kept the pace up because
Like seeing a
yeah,
bit of blood on the white suit, we don't often get to, not as
yeah,
often as we should. Yeah.
absolutely. And knowing that he's got a few, like that we're going to go through the rounds, right? So
Yeah,
it
we know we're going to get to
immediately.
hear from all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, the first obvious one, which was the bloodied shoulder. That's Jake's, and that was pretty cool. It was good to see a link, possibly a reference to the McKay run with Vermin already. He did pop up, you know, in the
Hmm.
earlier Moon Knight issues. I mean, not a
But it's
direct
good,
one.
he's standing up for kidnapped foster children.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it very much, even if you didn't know anything about Moon Knight, this sort of sets Moon Knight as like, it puts him as a good guy. So
Yes.
even
Oh
Jake,
yeah. And he doesn't seem to be
hyper
too
violent, are we gonna
hyper
say?
violent, yeah,
Yeah,
or too scary. I mean, the thing that
yeah,
interested me were the kids. I mean, obviously they've just been saved, but
yeah.
they're all happy and reaching out towards him, and this is a guy that they just saw it with their very own eyes
I
beat
think it's a very
to
old school. It's a much older school Jake because he's just
yeah,
he's making jokes. He's being funny.
mm,
He's gone to put the jukebox on.
yeah.
Very much like the reference to Hebrew school. Thank you, Jake.
And I love Wall Street as well, calling
Yeah,
Stephen Wall
yeah.
Street.
I love calling Stephen Wall Street, but like
That's so
it
good.
reminded me that we used to call Sunday school Hebrew school, so
Mm-hmm.
it's very accurate there. So it's
Very cool.
good.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like it's nice. We always like Mark getting a bit nibbled, don't we, Ray?
You did say nibbled, didn't you? Yeah,
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 no, I was just like, so
yeah.
like one of the first podcasts I did without Ray, that was just
Yeah.
me and Connor.
Yeah.
If anybody remembers that far back, had us dissolving into laughter about me talking about having a bit of a nibble. So this made me laugh
Yeah.
that we were getting back to him having getting a bit nibbled by not a werewolf this time, but by
No,
vermin.
but kind of, yeah, Vermin I mean, I love it how Mark says, "Oh, you think you're a demon. There's some kind of demon, don't you?" Or so he's not supernatural. Maybe a pseudo werewolf, but more from science. Yeah, so yeah, great. Again, use of blood again to really get the sense of that murky sewer,
Yeah.
using the red and the black. Pretty cool. And then talking about references, I was just trying to remember just before we went on air, Rebecca Crossfire, and he was it Marvel 2-in-1? I think it was 2-in-1.
Yeah,
He
I
was
think so.
yeah with the Thing. So the Thing and Moon Knight battled, um, battled Crossfire, who I can't remember the premise of the story, but he apparently died in the elevator. They blew him up in the elevator. That was one of the issues I found hilarious. I think Noel coined the fact that
Yeah.
there's a panel where Moon Knight just leaps at him, going, I can't remember the term. Maybe Noel can help, but like, because he was thinking the whole way, and then he blurts out the
Hmm.
last sentence of the last train of his thought.
That's really
Uh,
funny.
yeah, yeah. So that was from that Marvel 2-in-1, but we do get Crossfire back, and again, very short and sweet
I'm
here.
glad this has confirmation that the white suits aren't cheap suits. Nothing but the best for
Yeah,
Stephen Grant, thank you.
true. Exactly, exactly. Oh, it's really banged up though, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
super banged up.
so you got blood on one. You've got what was this? Phosphorus rounds being shot at. It's being shot at him. Plus,
Yeah.
dynamite was it dynamite or it's just blown up to smithereens.
Yeah,
Um,
I think he just says, and then and then glass in the other one. Is there glass in the other one?
the glass in the
No.
knuckles, yeah, and the other
Yeah,
one's a
yeah.
tooth, which is awesome.
Hilarious.
I love that. But anyway, Crossfire, you get a little bit of insight here as well. Like, oh, I can't believe I've killed him, and so
But it
there's a
is
little.
funny because he's in the Moon Knight outfit for this one.
Yes, and on the glider, and he's got a Gatling
Yeah,
gun attached
yeah.
to it.
It's great.
Really
And the
cool.
red's being used very differently again, so that's nice.
Yes.
And I
Yep.
like how we've got some cheating oranges in this one.
there was a little bit of cheating. He
There's
was. I was
quite a
about
lot
to
of cheating, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to mention about the textures in the first one. We spoke about it from the second story in issue 1. You know, a lot
hmm
of the greys and the mid greys that happened,
Hey,
but
it's a neat trick, and there's no rules against it, so it's not
true.
really cheating. It's just
No,
it's
it's
nice to see it being used, interpreted differently.
exactly pushing the boundaries. I love it. So that's
Yeah.
really wrapped up. I don't know if you got the sense, Rebecca. I got the sense that this story was longer than it probably was because I think Proposer just packed a lot in
Yeah,
here.
I think just because you get like a couple of pages per altar as well.
Yeah, I was wondering, is this longer than the others? I'm sure it probably isn't, but
But I
um,
do love that it's Stephen that gets all the gadgets. Like he's got
yes.
the glider, and he's talking about, oh yeah, I brought out
True.
the drone, and he's got the
Oh,
Gatling
true.
gun,
Of
and
course. Yeah.
you know,
Well, yeah. Good
so
point.
like whereas
That's right.
Jake is fighting in a sewer.
I didn't
So
I didn't make the correlation between the environment and because I forgot
yeah,
straight away that this was Steven's recollection. But yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Uh,
and
yeah, and I love
I just love how they're all drawn as well.
it's just
That's
very
so great.
classic comic. I don't know. Yeah, I put it
It's
down to
really classic. Yeah.
newspaper Romero. I think he may have done Kate Bishop Hawkeye. I think Leonardo Romero
Oh, I
rings a
think he
bell.
did. You know.
I think that's where I've heard him from before.
Let's have a look.
Uh,
I'm pretty sure he did do that. Now you said it.
just those faces. But the other one, the second to last one, we have a little story from Conchu, which was a very interesting one, and I just fist pumped the whole way here.
Yeah, it's
Juggernaut.
amazing. It's so funny.
Conchu
It's so
took
funny. It's
on
like how
Juggernaut.
Conchu's trying to look so innocent.
Yeah, he does look very innocent, and I love the thing. Holy cripes, the Juggernaut, ain't he supposed to be unstoppable? I convinced him
Well, because
otherwise. I mean,
now he's Sitarak, isn't he?
is he?
So
Sorry?
the yeah, he is.
Oh. Oh,
Um,
wow.
and yeah, so you get Conchu doing the supernatural one,
Mm,
basically, or the magic
yes,
one, which is kind of
because
still keeping on our thinking. But
for
my
sure, and
favorite thing about this page,
yes.
have you got this page up yet? My
Which one?
favorite
Yeah.
thing about this page is Khonshu drinking his tea
Yeah,
from his
yeah,
beak.
I didn't notice
It's
that.
it's so it's so ridiculous, and I love it.
He must just slurp it up.
It's all
Like,
it's all in Mark's mind. Like this is not,
yeah, true,
but
true.
it's just I do like the little, because it's like they're
Yeah.
having a little tea party, and he's got his tea.
A little, yes, a little meeting after the fact, and yeah, so this was cool. This
Mm.
was the least. I guess that's why.
Oh no,
This
he
was just
says
the.
tell your master Sitarak. So, but I know
Oh,
there's
okay.
something to do with him and Sitarak. So
Well, I mean, he's pretty
someone will explain.
badass if he can, handle the
So is
Juggernaut. And
Khonshu. Look at him, yeah,
I mean, that's
having a
what I
bit of a
mean. Like
punch.
Conchu. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he's
We don't
just
see him getting
awesome.
that. Maybe we should get more involved, Khonshu.
Yeah, absolutely. But so this was just a one pager, but I think that's all you really needed. And
Yeah.
again, the last one with Mark Spector is just the one page, but this had the deepest
Oh,
cut,
the
I think.
impact.
Yeah, because
This
I mean,
really just hit me.
yeah, like number one, he's got mirror shrapnel in his hand still. I mean,
Yeah,
that's got to look very graphic and terrible.
yeah,
But yes, it came from him punching the mirror because of, I guess, this inner turmoil that he has,
yeah,
what he's done to his friends, what being Moon Knight means, and what they've been trying to do for him, but what they've sacrificed along the way. So yeah, this had a big impact,
really big impact. It
and I
shivers down
like,
the spine moment.
yeah. And Romero's work there, just in the next page, just with Mark in kind of in shadow, with the three behind him, just
Yeah,
like looking on, was really cool. And then we kind of break that. It's broken with an interruption. Well done. I think really done well here. Sorry, by Pepose.
yeah,
You
yeah.
just have your thug come in, and it's like, oh, okay. What does he say? Back on the clock, and
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah,
It's like those kind of beats work really well, and then
yeah,
off he goes, and then you're kind of
yeah,
left on a high again because he's gonna
yeah,
kick some
yeah. Because
ass.
you're getting Mr. Knight going to kick some ass.
Yeah. So, so really good there. Let me stop that one. So, yeah, I mean that was good, and then
I
finally,
really
I'm
like
just
that
having.
one.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I think you're right. I think I could still work well in the middle. Or the opening as well.
Who
But again,
knows? Who
who
knows?
knows?
It's but I guess it has the emotional impact of that last couple of bits. Is
Yes. And then we get. I just had a look. Sorry, I just had to change the screen to see if Mario had made his way. Sorry, Mario again. And then finally we've
so the Pat
got
Zircher one.
Pat Zircher. I was just in awe of this art though, Rebecca. It's
The
it's
art
it,
is
again
gorgeous, and
very
this is
different
like
style. Yeah.
incredibly not relying on the red here. So
Yes.
just having it to really stand out.
Yeah. But
Um,
number one,
y-
it's the art. But
it's
number
so
two,
detailed.
very detailed. Yeah. But number two, the Merc past. I think this was. I love this bit. Like,
This looks
and
like
Mark.
a story out of the old Commando comics that I used
Yeah.
to read when I was a kid. So
But Mark not being the most upstanding, right? I mean, they've just swiped some
yeah,
diamonds.
I mean,
Um.
still don't like them making up countries, but I understand why they have to.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. Of Narobia. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, but we get the so we in the opening kind of gambit we get Mark blowing up betraying I guess another part of his
Mhm.
team and blowing up a jeep behind him. We get introduced quickly and I just noticed it's got um oh my god I've forgotten the name the wife of his colleague
Yeah,
a
Bodhi.
photo. Sorry.
Oh yeah, the wife of
Yeah, she's in that. She's got a photo. There's a photo of her in the helmet there of him, which is
Oh,
pretty
cool.
cool.
That is
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
Sephora. So
Yes,
she's in
Sephora.
there. But yeah, so he's already doing a pretty bad thing
Yeah,
that you kind of don't expect him to do. But we know that he has
he
been. He's
has
got a
done
bloody
this in the
past.
past. Yeah, yeah,
Mm. So it's fun to see kind of this dark
yeah.
past of his. But we get a new character here, Rebecca. What did you think of Henrik Kless?
He's fine. He's very
Yeah,
comic booky, but
very comic booky. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
neither like nor dislike. It's an interesting
Me
design.
too. Yeah, he didn't really survive that long
He was
enough.
never going to. I
No,
mean,
no.
you know,
The most distinct features the red butterfly, the blood red
yeah,
glider, and he's got a disfigurement like a burn on his face as well.
yeah,
I'm sure there's a story to that too. But he betrays them. He betrays Mark
yeah,
and his mate. Um, yeah, I know. I thought this was really cool. We get a little bit of Marlene here, but the amount of detail in this art, Rebecca, was
it's
just kind of
so good.
like wow. I love the facial features. I love the backgrounds,
Hmm.
the expressions, everything, um, and yeah, a good use of the red here with the gliders.
Yeah.
What are they
Although
called?
butterflies
Yeah.
would not survive
I
being
know. I
posted
was
anywhere.
thinking that. I think like who packed it and how
As
soon had they
someone who,
packed it?
as a child, thought they could collect butterflies and have them as pets, let me tell you, they do not live very long at
Oh,
all.
they don't. What was it like a couple of days or something? Isn't it,
No,
Rebecca?
I
Or
think if you touch their wings and stuff, they can't last very
oh,
long.
oh
Yeah.
gosh. So very fragile,
Yeah.
very different to Henrik Kless, although he doesn't, as we say, he doesn't last long.
Hmm.
I thought just the nice premise of Sephora bringing Mark into
Hmm.
this world again, and her not liking him, but she just has a tip off or whatever
Yeah.
about Kless. So basically, let's go kill him. That-
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
that's the message. The Moon Knight costume was cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a little
I
bit
like
different.
the black
It's
one.
it's black, yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
I like it
and
as well.
yeah, it did. It did it always. I did. It did always have the. Of course, it does.
Mm.
The crescent moon. I love how he cuts the glass in a crescent
Yeah.
moon.
Oh,
Did you
that's
see
so
that?
ridiculous, but I love it
It
as
is
well.
ridiculous. I know.
It's like you're a human. How are you going to fit through us? Like, come on.
Exactly. Exactly. But Kles has gone into cahoots with a Russian group, the Volkov group, I guess, and
Yeah.
they Mark's figuring out where he is. We see more, yeah, and then there's again, oh my god, the art here. The whole village is
Yeah.
wasted, so we get the sense of how bad this guy is. It is very much a commando comic,
Yeah.
isn't it, Rebecca?
Yeah,
There's
he's
nothing.
gonna let's go shoot all the people, even if they're not rebels.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the points of interest here are obviously having Moon Knight injected in it and seeing his mercenary past and the art, I
Yeah.
think. Other than that, the
Oh yeah.
story's yeah, the story's pretty straightforward and
Oh,
standard.
it's incredibly. Yeah. I mean, you
Yeah.
know exactly what's gonna happen.
Hmm. And I mean, judging this next to Pepose's story, for instance, it does seem a little bit uh, less full. Like it's a little bit bare with the story, but I
Yeah,
think
I
the
guess
art,
it makes up for it with the art. Yeah,
yeah, the art just makes, yeah, exactly. The art makes up more. There's a
yeah.
bit of gore here as well. Like Mark gets that knife. I don't know what you call that knife, Rebecca. You a weapons expert by any chance, or
No.
no? But he gets that kind of dagger, which is a very
The little
horrifically shaped
curvy
one.
dagger. Yeah,
And he works it into Kless's chest,
yeah,
and then he's gone. You see that quite graphically, and then the play on words here. Who are
yeah,
you, spirit? I'm Spectre. Of course, that's a very cool moment. And then it just kind of wraps up. They just decide, oh, hang on, we never liked Kless anyway,
yeah,
and you're a superhero. I don't want to have to deal with killing a superhero. Let's just take you home. Uh,
yeah. Pretty
a little bit
much.
of a bit of a quick ending for me
Yeah.
for that. So again, pace wise and stuff, I don't think it worked as well as say the other two, but I
No,
still enjoyed it because
but
of the
I think it's beautiful, and I did like some of the
the,
references. So
the art was just fantastic. So
yeah.
yeah, couldn't really fault it. Um, yeah. Rebecca, any other final thoughts? I saw your reference. Your disgraced CIA operative.
I said, "Yay, disgrace here." We
Oh,
like it. I like
okay.
it when it's mentioned. I
Yeah,
like it when it's mentioned because, like, everyone refers to him as an ex-mercenary, but there's very
yeah.
few comics that then go back and say he was ex-CIA as well
Yes.
and
Well,
disgraced. So,
well,
like, and we did one of those issues, didn't we, when we were doing the
we
sort of
did four of them. High
yeah,
strangeness. High
yeah.
strangeness. Yeah.
So I like that. I like when it gets mentioned. So
Yeah. Oh no, that's very cool. That's
yeah.
very cool. A really cool package, issue 2. We've got some feedback, Rebecca. So let's wrap this up. What do you reckon? What do you make out of 10? Shoes 10. What do you give this issue
I
2?
gave it a 7.5, which is just above a
Lovely.
solid round boy, but before big and beautiful.
I think that's a little bit higher than your last one, Rebecca. I think you gave a 7 from memory. I think you
That's
gave a
because
7.
I guess I
Yeah.
think I was a little bit unsettled with it. Like I said, I think
Yeah.
this is
No,
more what I
that's
expected, and
absolutely.
that's probably what
Yeah.
nudges it up, whether I liked individual stories better
Yeah.
or worse, you know?
Look, I think it's indicative because I mean, truth be told, as a whole, I think I enjoyed this issue 2, a lot more than issue 1. I mean, I still like issue 1.
Hmm.
I had to check. I gave that one 6.5 out of 10. I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. I'm going for the big, beautiful yellow man.
Nice.
Rebecca's going for somewhere between a solid round boy and a big, beautiful yellow man.
Yeah.
Yeah, an 8 out of 10. I just, as we mentioned at the top of it, it was kind of what I was expecting this anthology to be. The art was phenomenal and so disparate, all three of them, and the
Yeah.
stories were so
I love the
different.
different use of reds.
Oh,
Yeah, it was really good.
yeah. So very cool indeed. So Looney listeners, 7.5 and an 8 out of 10 from your high priests. Now, Rebecca, let's go to Nightlines.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. I don't have any transitions. I'm sorry, so we'll have to make do with that one. First off, we have something from Noel. I haven't listened to it myself, but
Nice. Let's do it.
let's hear what Noel has to say with his thoughts on this issue. Take it away, Noel.
Hey guys, it's Noel Tate calling in to give my review of Moon Knight Black, White, and Blood number 2, starting with Empty Tomb by Benjamin Percy and Vanesa R. Del Rey. I just want to start with the art first because I thought this was really interesting, how sketchy it was. It looks like pencils, and I thought it was a really good use of the red that was in there. I really thought it was also a good use of the sort of, instead of having caption boxes later when it's all black, it's just floating white letters or floating.
What happened, Noel?
I
Where
know.
are you, Noel?
What happened,
Speak,
technology?
speak to me, Noel. Oh, Riverside. Riverside!
Riverside, you're not.
You're not pulling your weight, Riverside.
No.
Hang on. Sorry, Rebecca. You just have to bear with me for a sec. I'm going to try it from somewhere else. Okay, we might just sorry, Noel. We might just hold that for the time being. Rebecca,
Every time,
as
Ray, I break the tech.
as I work on, I'll have a little tinkle. Do you have the prompt sheet up? Maybe you can
Yeah, I do.
start off with Mario's, and I'll just see
Yeah.
if I can get this
Okay,
working.
from Mario. Somewhat amusingly, my review for this issue is a lot like the first. Story 1, interesting, but the art made it a little difficult to work out exactly what happened. I've read it twice and I'm still not sure. Story 2, a lot of fun, some great character work, and a nice twist at the end. His comment about why he really wears white is interesting. Story 3, I'm not sure what makes this a Moon Knight story. It could easily be Frank Castle or another ex-soldier. And his scores for story 1, 7 out of 10, interesting character work, impenetrable story. Number 2, 9 out of 10, some of the art was a bit weak. And number 3, 8 out of 10 would be higher if it was less generic. So a nice 8 out of 10 average.
Nice. Yeah,
I
no,
think, that why he really wears the white is the final gut punch after seeing the mirror punch.
yeah,
So he can see the blood on him and always remember it.
yeah, no, it was pretty good, I thought. No, and Mario, thank you as well. Sorry that we couldn't get you on
Yes.
onto the show, but I think your thoughts kind of echo Rebecca and myself with it. Sorry, Rebecca, do we say which of the three would you say is your favorite?
The second one.
The second one, yeah, same
I
here.
love the
So
art. I mean, I'm like
yeah,
swung by the art, but I always gonna love watching the alters hanging out and being fun. But to answer his why that about story 3, how it could have been a Frank Castle one, and I agree, it could have been a Frank Castle one. But I
hmm
think what's interesting is it reminds you that's a side of Moon Knight we don't often remember.
yeah,
Like we know it's in his origin, and I don't mind like if we're gonna only have like one of those in this. I don't want loads of mercenary ones because they kind of turn me off a bit.
hmm
Because they're always a bit grimy and miserable. But I kind of like knowing that he has similarities to Frank, but went a different way.
yes,
And I guess to Deadpool and all the other mercs we've got, Bullseye, and that there's something there that's similar with them in the same way
hmm
as he has similarities to the superheroes, but in this way, there's that sort of shared background, but he went a different way, and some of that because of the DID, and some of that just because of Khonshu.
hmm
It's kind of like, yeah, it's interesting because then he comes back as the sort of avatar of Khonshu.
mm, yeah,
But I don't disagree. It could have. I mean, it would have been a beautiful Frank story. So
mm, yeah. And just Mario's thoughts on the first one as well. Uh, we talked about the art, which is great as well, but might at times be a little bit difficult to follow. Similar to, I guess, issue 1 with Bocello's work.
yeah,
So yeah, but again, that's personal taste as well, Mario. But no, thank you so much for that, Rebecca. I'm going to try again with this audio.
yes, let's give it a go.
Now for Noel, let's give this a go, Noel. And take 2, Noel. Let's go.
Hey guys, it's Noel Tate calling in to give my review of Moon Knight Black, White, and Blood number 2, starting with Empty Tomb by Benjamin Percy and Vanesa R. I just want to start with the art first because I thought this was really interesting, how sketchy it was. It looks like pencils, and I thought it was a really good use of the red that was in there. I really thought it was also a good use of the sort of, instead of having caption boxes later when it's all black, it's just floating white letters or floating red letters in the black. The story, on the other hand, was a little confusing, but I guess that's part of having short stories in this format. I guess Mark Spector is trying to get rid of Khonshu and goes to Doctor Strange, and he gives him a scarab, which is weirdly timely. A red one, and goes out to Khonshu's tomb, and I guess comes back with a red moon on his face. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what happened with this issue, but it seemed cool, and I would actually kind of like to see more of it, and we won't. And that's sort of the sad part about this style of comic book. Now, the second story, A Hard Day's Night by David Pepose, Leonardo Romano, Chris Sotomayor. This story I thought was pretty cool. Starting with the artwork again, it's very vintage. It reminds me of almost sort of like old Archie style in a way, a little less cartoony, or even almost like a Steve Ditko, something like that. I don't know, maybe it's the black and white format that's sort of reminding me of that, black, white, and red format that's reminding me of that. But it's kind of cool having Moon Knight and all his personalities tell stories of just the night they had battling different villains, you know? We've got Vermin and, what do you know, Old Crossfire is back. Ray and Justin and I, a conversation with a Marvel 2-in-1 where the Thing and Moon Knight battled Crossfire. So that was pretty cool. I'm glad they brought her back. Did some digging. And then Khonshu telling his story about having a battle with the Juggernaut. I don't know. It was a neat trope, I guess, to do this entire story the way it was. And just, you know, it turns out Mark's just kind of sitting there by himself in the diner. And somebody comes to stick him up and he's like, I'm just back at it, man. I thought that was pretty neat. And the third story by Patch Zircher, Blood Red and Glider. This was, it was cool that it was one creator who did the whole thing, but, and it was also cool that it was like a flashback story. I mean, Marlene's in it, Frenchie, some of the other people. So it's kind of a missing moment in Moon Knight's history. And that was kind of neat, but I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really like the artwork. I think the two other stories, because of sort of the unique art styles, the black and white and red worked really well. This one looks like it just needed some color to work for me. He's a great artist. It's just not my thing. And the story was, I find it interesting to have some flashbacks into past Mark Spector and past Moon Knight escapades, but it didn't really hold my attention. I kind of flipped through it pretty quickly and, to be honest, just didn't love it. But I'm happier with this number 2 than I am with the first issue of Black, White, and Blood. I think having 2 stories that really were pretty neat was better than having one that I thought was pretty neat in the last one. Even though I've so far actually enjoyed, they're all above par. They're all above average. All 6 stories so far. I'm just liking some more than others. You know, I come from alternative comics. I love that kind of stuff. So if it's a little bit more unique and weird, I'm going to like it more. That's just that. So overall, I would give this issue, I don't know. I'm going to give it kind of a broken record, I think, with the 7s. So I'm just going to say 8. Big yellow duck. Hope you guys are well. Talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you, Noel. That's cool. Well, I didn't expect him to give an 8, but from what he was saying from the last story, but yeah, great. Different horses for courses there.
Mhm.
I totally agree with most of the stuff there, Noel,
Yeah.
about Leonardo Romero's vintage look as well. I really enjoyed that, and yeah, the first story was a little bit of a head scratcher compared to the rest, but it did give a point of difference. Last couple of things here. Sorry, Rebecca. We have Lena. Thank
Yeah.
you, Lena, for dropping in some thoughts. And they broke down, obviously, into the 3 different stories. So the first story, I think this one was my favorite of the 3. I really liked the art a lot. And the theme of trying to break free from Khonshu reminded me of the Lemire run. I thought Doctor Strange was written very in character, both in the comics and the movies. He's very much the kind of guy who's not afraid to do dark things for the greater good, regardless of the consequence to himself. So it makes sense that he would try to talk Mark out of what he was planning. At first, I thought Mark was asking Doctor Strange to get rid of his altars, and I think that's what Strange thought at first too. So it was good to get clarification that it was actually Khonshu's influence that he was wanting to cleanse himself selves from. It was interesting that he was using a scarab as a compass, since the story was probably written without any knowledge of the plot of the Disney Plus series. 9 out of 10. Lena goes on. For the second story, I was hyped for this story as soon as I saw the title, since Doug and I are both huge Beatles fans. The story didn't have anything to do with the Fab Four, which I thought was probably too much to hope for anyway, but the art did have a bit of a feel of 60s comics like Archie, for instance, similar to what Noel was saying.
Yeah.
If Archie liked to beat the crap out of supervillains, I thought this story was fun, and the characterization of Mark, Jake, and Stephen was spot on. I thought it was a bit unrealistic that Mark would be talking to the others out loud in a public place, but that just added to the fun feel of the story, so I suppose I can forgive that. This was a very close second, only a tiny bit behind the first story, 8.5 out of 10. So big props there to David Pepose's story
Yep.
so far. And a final story, Lena says, I enjoyed this one too, but not quite as much as the other two. It reminded me of some of the older Mensch stories and some of the early stories in the Mark Spector Moon Knight series that dealt with his old mercenary days coming back to haunt him. Overall, it wasn't as creative or as exciting as the other two stories, a 7 out of 10. Thank you so much, Lena, for those thoughts. And yeah, I mean, I guess again, they echo pretty much what we were, some of the things that we were saying
Yeah,
as well. I
yeah.
mean, Lena
We're all gonna
enjoyed the
have
first
slightly
story.
different favourites, I guess.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
so.
So that's all down to taste. And Rebecca, yeah, finally we got one.
One from Instagram. Make mine Moon Knight. I was a little disappointed with Percy's story. I love his story from Marvel Comics Presents from a few years ago, but this one didn't really do much for me. Maybe if it had more to do or a follow-up issue. The second story was alright. Not how I prefer Moon Knight with the personalities as they were, but it's a nice fun story. The third one by Zircher is the one for me out of the three. Hell, it's my favourite out of the 6 stories total when you combine the 3 from issue 1. The writing and artwork, along with the way Moon Knight behaved and the action and drama, is all how I like Moon Knight best. Glad Zircher made an original character with Kless, the Crimson Butterfly Brute. Most would have gone the easy way and used someone known like Bushman. Not that I wouldn't mind seeing him pop up in one of these issues. Definitely like this issue more than issue 1. 3.5 moons out of 5. So that
Cool.
is 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Thank you, Make Mine Moon Knight as well. And again,
Yeah.
Rebecca, it just shows that everyone has their own favorites.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is great. I mean, it looks like everyone's enjoying the anthology.
I think it's pretty smart to create new characters when you know there's a possibility of a TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, like, you know,
And just a thought of what Make Moon Knight was saying as well, and what you're saying, Rebecca, about the Treasury edition. I'd love to see all these stories just all bundled together. So again,
so I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah,
that empty tomb might have a different kind of feel totally, because it's not the first thing off the bat. It's 3 stories into the Treasury edition. So so there you go. So thank you so much, everyone. Apologies for those who may be watching and dropping in comments. Rebecca and I cannot see the live stream comments. Again, Riverside FM.
Take a vote. Which one do you prefer?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good idea. For the live streams, would you prefer StreamYard or Riverside FM? We will follow your votes. Rebecca, thank you so much for.
Thank you.
It's a great chat. Again, there's always so much to talk about with
I
you.
know, it's always fun. I love these comics. I love we're getting so many. We're going to OD on them by the end of the summer, but that's good. You know, like we welcome it.
And as you're right, I think we might bundle up cameos and stuff. That is a good idea.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Spectacle, anything that you want to give a shout out to or give a plug to?
Not that I can remember right now.
Okay.
I'll tell you on Thursday. Nothing will have changed before Thursday. So.
Oh yes, okay. That's right. Next phase, Loonies
I
will be
cannot
back.
wait to talk about issue 12 of the Jed McKay run, though.
Oh yes,
like
me too.
So we're recording this obviously on the Tuesday, and like I'm gonna have to avoid spoilers so much while I'm working, but I'm so excited that we're gonna see the big showdown.
I cannot wait as well. It's how is it? What is going to happen? How is Jed going to lead into the next one?
How's it been a year? Like a Moon Knight, it's just incredible.
Yes. So in a couple of days, again, we'll be live streaming, possibly on StreamYard, people. So Rebecca and I will return for that, and also as an added bonus, Rebecca, I think I booked you in quite early on the Sunday because I've locked you in.
Sunday for some of you.
Sunday for some of you. Rebecca and I will be chatting with Jed to look at season 1, as Jed calls it, the first year in review. So the first 12 issues. Get your comments and questions in.
Send your thoughts.
We might have one of a guest co-host as well, Russell. He's loving Jed stuff as well, so we'll all be there to chat with Jed. But read Black, White, and Blood if you haven't already. Go get it. Heed our words. 7, 8.5 8, 10, 9 out of 10. It's all
Yeah.
good. So
We're all enjoying it, and the nice thing is that given that we're all enjoying different stories differently, means that there's probably something in there you'll love too.
exactly. I will forego all the outro. Look, it's all in the show notes as listed. Go check it out. I'll probably spurt it out on Thursday anyway. But a huge thank you, if anything, to our patroonies, of course,
Yes.
and to our principal sponsors, Odin Sword, Frank the Think Tank, Daniel Doing, and Drew Toombs. A big thank you there. Rebecca, thank you. No fancy bells or whistles for this outro. Just an
No.
adieu to you.
Yes.
to you. Thank you. And as always, may Conchu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Later, Gators.
Oh, yeah.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.